do so many men feel unfulfilled? And I store everything in my brain and then have a meltdown.
Men have been taught to not cry. You have to do it all by yourself. Never ask for help.
No.
It's a sign of weakness and all of that.
I stopped drinking. Mine was because of it felt like it cancelled out the stress or the emotions you're going through. I know that.
You have the ones that have apparently everything on paper, the house, the car, the woman, all of that, still feeling unfulfilled, sad, frustrated, sick.
In this day and age, people need someone like yourself. Since sitting with you, I think I'm going to book in some sessions with you.
There's always a way out of it. Whatever situation that you're in, there's always a way out of it. How to solve it or how to get better or how to get out of it, and there's always a way.
Welcome back to Mr. Dubai, the podcast we sit down with people sharing business, leadership, success across the globe. Today's guest is challenging one of the biggest misconceptions surrounding success, the high performance meaning sacrificing who you truly are. Based in Dubai, she's a founder of Mentor to Men, a bespoke mentorship helping ambitious men reconnecting the purpose, authenticity, and emotion and strength. Through her 3-pillar framework, remember, reconnecting, reclaiming, she's worked with exclusive entrepreneurs and senior leaders, navigating burnout, identity, and hidden pressures, and often comes with success. Today we're talking about masculinity, leadership, emotional resilience, why so many successful men still feel unfulfilled, and how they redefining success could be the greatest investment anyone makes. Please welcome Anna Thiel.
Hi, thank you.
Great to have you on.
Thank you so much.
So how are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much. Surviving the Dubai summer.
It's very hot, isn't it? It is very hot. No one can prepare you for the August heat.
Yeah.
It creeps up and all of a sudden it hits you.
It does. And every summer we forget how beautiful winter is, and every winter we forget how hot summer gets.
Yeah, to be fair though, the more years you stay here, your body does get better to it, because when we first come out here, don't get me wrong, it's still hard. Yeah. But you do adapt to it.
Absolutely.
A bit. So hopefully in 10 years' time I'll be all right.
Yeah. Yeah. You would have acclimatized by then.
Hopefully. So how long have you been in Dubai for?
8 years.
8? Yeah. And what was your reason to move to Dubai? Was it through work or?
It was a relationship.
Oh, relationship. Oh, okay.
Back then it seemed to have been relationship or work.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
So have you always done what have you always been in the same career, or is it you took the career up when you come here?
No, I've always collected information about it, and 30 plus years I've started with psychology and spirituality and business, and then I was doing other things as well, and then it's been full time now.
So you built your career with helping high-end men reconnect with themselves. What's the first inspiring work you've done mentoring men?
Asking to have an example of.
Yes. What's your so out of all your work you've done, is there anything that stands out for you?
I think the answer is actually that every single person that I work with stands out, because the transformation or the changes or the remembering is so profound. And so every single time there's always this wow, it's like, it's amazing to see the progress or whatever the changes. So there's not really like one specific one that's just crazy.
And I must ask, because I've tried in my, like, I've tried to transform my whole self. Mm-hmm. So for the last year and a half, I've stopped drinking because I wanted to focus on work and stuff like that, which has channeled me out to be completely different to what I was before. And I've tried to, I've always trained hard and stuff like that, but I didn't want to do it without a personal trainer. I wanted to do it off myself. Mm-hmm. So I've developed the non-drinking from myself, and I've developed the fitness by myself. Mm-hmm. What made you choose mentoring men, mm-hmm. and why do men come to you?
Mm-hmm. The reason why I chose is because I've always had an affinity towards men, or even in school I was hanging out with boys. I have 2 brothers. Really, I feel like we were.
So you connected more with men?
Yeah. I'm connecting more with men, and always as an adult as well, conversation seems to be very easy for them to open up as well. And then I thought, okay, there's so much for women, And it's amazing, you know, it all has its place, but then there was nothing really for men, or very, very little. And so I thought, okay, why don't I then create that space? And then to answer the second part is, why do men come to me? Yes, you could probably do a lot by yourself, and I'm not saying that you cannot. I mean, I don't want people to be dependent on me, but if they want it faster, if they want it with guidance, if they don't know what to do, then obviously, you know, that's when they come to.
I'm very intrigued by it because it's like everything in life. For people that say they know everything in life, is wrong. Even in my work, I learn all the time. I always learn. So for me, I would like to understand, like, why men come to you. Do you know what I mean? What they're looking for and stuff. I know everyone's different, but I'm intrigued by it. I'm intrigued because I always want to better myself. I always want to be the best version of myself. And you can't always do stuff on your own. Do you know what I mean? As much as you can try, but I always want to go that next stage in life, whether it's health, mind. I would like to be able to clear my mind. That's one thing I suffer with. Everyone uses computers. As you can see, I'm not the best at reading. I'm not the best on computers. And I store everything in my brain. Okay. And then I have a meltdown because there's so much stored in my brain. That obviously I can't go by day to day because I can't get through that. I would like to know how I can get to that, get that out of my head, get to that. Do you know what I mean? There's got, and I think that speaking to people like yourself obviously helps that. And I think with men, not a lot of men, can say that. Do you know what I mean? They build it up because we're all men. We're all macho men. We don't. Yeah. But I feel like in this day and age, people need someone like yourself.
I think there's a few aspects in there. If you think about it, we do get actually a lot of assistance. You know, whether it's teachers in school, or if we're learning how to swim, or if you do a soccer training, as like from childhood, there's always like a coach, a mentor, or a guide of sorts. So we're kind of used to, getting guidance. But then somewhere along the line, especially men, like you said, have been taught you have to do it all by yourself. You have to, carry all the responsibilities.
Macho man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't never ask for help.
No.
It's a sign of weakness and all of that. Whereas I actually think in the world today, it's a sign of strength to come and, ask for help, or, go for guidance, or go for support. And so some of the examples of when you say, what men come to me for is, you have the stressed ones at work, the burnout, burnout or on the way there. You have the ones that have apparently everything on paper, the house, the car, the woman, all of that, still feeling unfulfilled, sad, frustrated, sick, whatever the case may be. In relationships, there's, a lot of, it's rocky a lot of times. Also after divorce, kind of like the transition to that next phase of life. And coming back to your example about the mind, obviously my work is very deep, so I do go to the source of everything, and also very future focused. But just to maybe give you a surface level tip is what I said earlier on, is to write down the things, or to make a voice note or something, so you have it somewhere and you can free that space in your mind, and you don't have to think, oh my God, I have to remember everything. Yeah. So you can, it's an easy thing, and people think, oh, how is that going to help me? I've, had those responses, and I'm like, try it and then see if it doesn't actually, free up that space for you to then do other things as well. And then also prioritize, like, do I need to have this in my mind, or can somebody else do that?
Yeah. I think one thing I've learned in the year and a half, because when you stop drinking, you don't realise you have time to think more, because you ain't having a hangover in the morning. In the evenings, you're not getting drunk and you're losing that time. You lose a lot of time through drinking. You don't realise it, but you do, because when you've had a drink, all your
time, energy, money.
Yeah, all your thoughts go out. All you're thinking about is that time. Yeah, and in the morning, all you're thinking about is, I've got to get through the morning to get through the afternoon. But one thing I never understood it from me is, I used to, when people used to say, I love myself, I used to think, how can you love yourself? But what I've learned is there's a difference between loving yourself and loving yourself. I don't look in the mirror and love myself,
Okay.
but I love the person I am. I'm liking the person I am. There's a difference. There's a difference between loving yourself, look in the mirror, and loving yourself as a person. And I think the more I've started to like myself, love myself, the better you are as a person. Like the better you are as a father, the better you are as a husband. And that's a big learning curve in my life. And that's obviously something that you probably channel into people, or men, sorry.
Yes. I think, first of all, it's beautiful. Well done. I'm happy for you, for your journey that, you've come to, and just leaving something away or deciding against it in your life, you've created so many positive, positivity or positive things. And so that's just one example of, what I would do in my work. Because I never tell people what to do. I'm only guiding. I'm asking questions, my presence, and just, a combination of all of that. But at the end, people still need to make their own decisions, because I'm not responsible for anybody. You are responsible for yourself. You and all of us, we're all responsible for ourselves. So I can just be there and, kind of do that. So if people come to me and ask me what should they do, I would probably pose the question back and say, what do you think you should do, or what do you want to do? Yeah, I'm very much on we should all do what we want to do.
It is, you don't realise in life how good it is sometimes to speak to someone and get it off your chest.
Yeah.
Like when you're in a relationship with your partner and you spend a lot of time with your partner, sometimes you don't hide things, but you don't talk about it. Like there might be a problem at work, there might be a financial problem, someone might not be paying, and you keep it in the back of your mind. So your thought process is not how it should be because you've got that negative thought in your brain. It's trying to release that. What I've realised is now if I have a problem, I talk to Jess about it instead of building it up inside of me, because you fight against yourself because you want to be happy, but you've got that bad thought, and then sometimes you might snap and then they'll be like, oh, what's that about? But it's because of that thought that you've got that you can't get across, if you know what I mean. But it's not being honest, it's where you talk about your problems. As you said, people come to you to talk and you don't guide them, but you're there to express, or you're there to have that conversation with them. And in your profession, you obviously know what channels to go into.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it's about, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. So the conversation is always the first part, or like the first step, but then, it'll go into different areas. But I love that you have, again, found, the way to speak to your wife. And because I know a lot of men do not, and there will be different reasons. Fear of judgment is always one. Not wanting to worry the spouse. I think then with that point, it's kind of who the spouse is. Is she able to handle that? Is she able to, assist? Is she able to not judge? Is she able to, take you seriously? Because what I've find out is that once men actually do speak, they've already succumbed a lot of hurdles in their own mind. Maybe swallowed a lot of situations, maybe done it by, just kept it and thought, I'll deal with it myself, so on and so forth. So once they do speak, then it's so imperative what the response is from the person that they're speaking to, which would be the spouse of sorts, and a lot of women make that mistake, I must say, to say, what's the problem?
Yeah.
Or like, don't worry about it, or it'll be fine, or not taking that serious. And then obviously the men will be like, okay, I won't do that again.
Yeah.
And then also, the classical one that the spouse will use it against him in the next fight or discussion. So I love that you guys have that you can talk to each other, and that you as the man also think it's okay for me to share my problem with her, and because together maybe we can find the solution, and not to stay with, I'll do it all by myself. Because
I've got to say, this is the first podcast where I've gone off script and I haven't even read a question yet.
I noticed.
And that's being all a natural
nice.
conversation, that's probably the first time I've ever done that, where the flow of the conversation is obviously I haven't got to read the script, but now I'm going to go back.
Okay, sure.
On paper, many men you work with have everything. Success, careers, financial freedom and status. Why do so many men feel unfulfilled?
Yeah, that's a good one, because there's a lot of them, unfortunately. I think there's lots of reasons. One of them specifically these days is social media.
Social media is a killer.
Yeah, is the expectations. The expectations have always been there. Expectations of the parents of what one should study and how one should go and how you grow up already. There's a lot of expectations that parents put on children to perform, to, be the good boy in the case of men and boys, and to just make parents happy. It's just something that we do naturally. We all want validation from our parents. We want to be seen, we want to be heard, we want to feel that we matter. But a lot of parents, and not blaming them, but it's just, not knowing about it, will put things on their children because of themselves. It always flows downwards, and put expectations where they don't even know that they're doing it. And all of us actually want to live up to those expectations. But I feel that for boys there's even more, because ultimately you're supposed to be the provider, you're supposed to be the one taking responsibility, fixing all the problems, taking care of the house, the family and everything. So it starts pretty early. And at the end of the day, we want love. And so a lot of parenting style is, if you do that, I will love you, without even saying it. But it's like that. And so if you grow up with that throughout school, throughout studies, then you're studying what your parents say and what you should do and what would be a good status, so on and so forth, and it just continues. And now you add social media to that in the recent years. And now you have to look this way, you have to do this and not do this and be this, and all of that on top of the expectations that are already there. And I think that's why those men that are successful on paper are very driven. And that's something that I look at. Why are you so driven? Because there's driven and then there's driven. And it's always looking on the outside. So it'll be the next house or the next car or the next woman or the next watch or the next investment that they're looking to fill that hole with, if I could put it like that. But that will never do it. Nothing on the outside ever will create that validation that we can only give ourselves, actually.
I think for men, another thing that I've learned as well is that men find it very hard to show emotions, right? And I used to always bag up that it's bad for a man to cry. But nowadays, if I watch a film or I feel a bit emotional or the kids do something or something happens, I do shed a tear. I do. The thing is, I still hide it from the kids a little bit. They say, you crying, Dad? I'm like, no. But I feel like for a man, if you have that emotion, I think you have to release it. Because if you don't release it, it builds up, and again, that can become a negative thing. And I also think social media, as you said, it is, especially in Dubai. I never used to have social media back in UK, but Dubai, our work is social media, our presence is social media. You do worry about numbers, and I think the problem is social media is good because it does get you out there. People kind of know us now, and but sometimes it does take over your life, and you're worried if the numbers go down, if people are viewing it going down, if they go up. Because at the moment, say I'm at 2.1, if I go back to 1.5, I'll be like, have I done something wrong? Yes. Is there something wrong? Absolutely. And that's the only thing you can say about social media. Yes, it's good, but it's also bad for the mind.
Yeah, so it's good for people to, see us and get this conversation, and there's a lot of good stuff out there. But as you said, rightly so, it's also, I don't necessarily negative, but it's just an overwhelm of information. And especially, that's how we talk as adults. Imagine the younger generation, all that confusing information that they're getting, and then trying to live up to that which is usually not even real, or it's a snippet maybe of somebody's day, for example, or it's either totally fake or it's just a snippet of somebody's day. So I think that one's really difficult. But I want to get back to the really important part. Is I love that you are shedding a tear, because first of all, these tear ducts, they're there for a reason, right? And it goes back to what I said before, is that it's because men have been taught to not cry. Boys don't cry. We all know that saying. Or I'll give you something to cry about, or and have that so connected to so much negativity and weakness that you'll do anything and everything to not cry. And just as a side note, if you cry in front of your children, you give them the permission to do the same.
No, I do cry in front of them. I'm not saying I don't, but I try and give it. We have a little bit of like, they know I'm crying, but I don't want to broadcast it, if you know what I mean. You've got to still have that little bit of man side of you, but they know I'm crying. They can see the tears. I'm like, no, I'm not crying. And then Cece gets a bit emotional about it because I'm crying, which is nice. I think having kids changes that. I think having kids changes that because they bring so much emotion to you. And going back to what you're saying, I think the problem in the world is we just done a network documentary, and the guy that done it with us is called Built Different. Okay. And it's all about all these people that come over and they're making loads of money and their success is massive. Whereas me and Jess, success ain't all about money. It's about family life and money. But that's another thing that's very hard to balance. Like, obviously you have to make money because you have to live, but you have to have time for your children. You have to have time for your family. And I think that's what we've learned in life is that we work hard, but we still have to have time. It's a very hard balance to be successful and be a great father and mother. It's very hard. And not only for men and for women, because the day and age now has changed. It ain't men go out, men make the money.
Yeah.
Women go out, women make the money.
Yeah.
It ain't like men are the breadwinners, because some relationships, women earn more than men. And I think, I think, don't get me wrong, I'm not being sexist, but there's some jobs that men do that are better than women. There's some jobs that women do better than men. But I think that's a very hard thing to juggle, is being successful in both parts.
And I think the question would also be, what does success mean, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Because in the way you just posed it, I understood that you meant successful kind of put on the monetary or the financial side of things. But spending time with your kids is a success, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of men that don't get to spend a lot of time with their kids, or parents even.
Well, what ticked me the other day was Roman my little boy wants to have twins, and he wants to call them Jess and Steve.
Oh.
And you know, and that's success. Do you know what I mean?
That's
because your kids look up to you,
yes,
and they want their kids to be your name.
Yes.
So that's success. It has the problem in this day and age is people think success is all about money, all about wealth, and it's not. There's a balance, and that's what's very hard in this world and day and age. And the guy that we done the documentary was afterwards. He was like, "You've opened my mind up so much. I thought you had to choose between success and family life, and you've showed me that you can have both.
Yes.
You just got to balance it." And that's what's hard for people to understand.
And I love that then a lot of people are hopefully going to watch it, because I think that misconception is there all the time. It's either or. You know, you either career or home life. But no, these days you can combine it. And you guys are obviously doing that very successfully. So well done.
Well, this podcast is going very successful because I'm not sticking to the questions. Let me go back in. Your framework is remember, reconnecting, reclaim. Can you walk through us what each statement means and why they are so powerful?
Yeah. So the first one is remember. Remember who you already are. Under all those expectations that I just mentioned earlier on, that you put on yourself, that maybe your parents put on you, or, you know, the viewers, school put on you, social media put on you, is to remember who you already are, which is kind of like the essence of, you know, who you are in this life on this planet. And then reconnect to that is to, after the remembering, to first realize that, you know, you're unlimited, and everything that's been put on you, either by yourself or by the things that you heard, or people that or things that people told you, are not necessarily true. And so you reconnect to that truth, and then reclaim is just because I put a lot of focus on what now. I go deep in my work, and I can go all the way back if we want to, and we do sometimes, depending. But my main focus is almost like a car. The windscreen is the bigger one, and you have the small mirror for the back. And so reclaiming is basically living life from remembering who you already are.
Just out of curiosity, obviously your work is analysing men. Do you always analyse men? Do you sit there like, are you looking at me now? Because
I knew it.
No, but listen, I walk into a hotel, you can ask Jess, and I look at the door frame and go, that door's lovely. That sink's lovely. And I always analyse the workmanship in hotels.
Yes.
Do you do the same?
I get asked this question if I can even have a normal conversation without doing that.
Because I feel like I'm a bit under pressure. Not pressure, but I feel that you're watching my emotions when I say things. You're kind of analysing me, not meaning to, but I think you're doing it as it's your...
I think that's actually the answer to my question, is I might say, no, I'm not doing it, but I might still do it.
Yeah.
Kind of like not really
in
consciously.
autopilot.
Yeah, almost on autopilot, not really consciously. But you can relax, it's all good.
Dubai is a city built on ambition and high performance. Do you think success here comes with unique emotion pressure compared to other places?
I think Dubai is almost like, money is almost like, situations that we might have had the last few months, is it brings out what's already there. Money does not change people. It only brings out what was already there. Maybe they've been hiding it well from themselves, from others, but I think it just magnifies what's already there. And I think Dubai is the same. So do you have to be a certain type of person maybe to make it here or to survive here, or to not survive here, but thrive here and live a good life here? Probably. I don't think, we can see, people come, people go, people come, people go. So it's kind of, the proof is in the pudding. But because it's a very high vibrational city, it's a very fast city, there's a lot of, everybody wants to do something, build something, create something, whatever. You have to be aware of your emotions, yeah. I think so.
I think so, yeah, I think so. And
maybe not necessarily only emotions, but kind of know yourself and reflect yourself on a regular basis. Because does it change people? No. But can you change in it? Yeah. And I think that's something to be aware of.
So that saying that people say lepers don't change their spots, do you believe in that? Or do you believe they can change?
I think they can change.
I believe that as well. Because people that say that, but you get alcoholics, you get drug abusers, you get... I don't know about when men beating women. But you get people that do change. Mm-hmm. And I think that's more for mind. Mind is I always say this. Mind is the most powerful. The brain is the most powerful tool in the world, right? I think, because that operates everything. You design things from your brains. Everything comes from your brain, and you have to channel your brain to believe in stuff, which changes your life. Like going back to me not drinking. I've been wanting to give up for probably 5 years, maybe more than that. Okay. And I used to always say, I'm going to stop drinking, get to the weekend. My mates would give me peer pressure and I'll drink. Mm-hmm. But a year and a half ago, I decided I wasn't going to drink. I woke up on a Sunday, took a phone call, thought I wasn't on my A game. And I sat there and I said to myself I wasn't going to drink, but it was a different saying. Mm-hmm. I meant it, if you know what I mean. And there's a difference between saying you're not going to drink and meaning it. That was a decision. And that was a decision. And I think that's when you know, when your brain changes. And I also believe in manifesting. Mm-hmm. Manifesting is your brain. If you believe something so much, I'm a high frequency. And I believe it comes from your brain. I believe the brain is the most powerful tool in the whole world. Mm-hmm. That's my theory. Mm-hmm. What's your theory on that?
I was still being at, when you said you have to believe something or whatever, I thought, you have to be delusional, so for some people it might be too big or too bold or whatever. But the brain is definitely an important tool. It's something that is driving us. It's, as you said, designs and everything come from it. I think it's in combination with something else, whatever, that essence is that I mentioned earlier on. Because if you think of people like Michelangelo or Beethoven or, I don't think those, what do you call it? Like those, Yeah, but those, what is the thing that the artist makes? What do you call the finished product? The art. Yeah, so the art that an artist makes, I don't think it comes from the brain. I think
no, but you've got to think he's still the artists are artists, right? They're artists for a reason. but they have to have that imaginary brain
Yeah.
to be able to do what they want to do.
Yeah, the brain and
But I see where you're coming from, but I just feel like in life, the brain, it's just a powerful tool.
it is.
It is a
Indeed.
very powerful
It
tool.
is, definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Many men are taught to stay strong and push through difficult emotions. Do you think this is defined as masculinity or change, or do you think it's changing now in the world? Like since times, like it used to be, I think times are changing, right? I don't think it's such a, back in the 80s and 70s, men were men. I think masculinity is changing a lot.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's changing. I don't want to really go into what's right or what's wrong or what I think necessarily.
Everyone's different. I suppose you put it out, everyone is different.
Yeah, and also, just like sometimes I get asked the question, so how do you think a man should be or what a relationship should be like? And my question is always, whatever these two people in a relationship decide, whatever works for them. If they say, no, he has to be the provider, I'll be the homemaker, okay. If both say, no, we both want to be the breadwinners and bring income in, okay. If it's the woman bringing in and the man staying at home, okay, whatever works for both, but it has to work for both. A lot of times it doesn't, especially the last example. And there's actually surprisingly a lot of people in Dubai where the woman is the breadwinner and the man stays at home with the children. And I think ultimately, in the society that we live in, they're not really deep down truly happy with that role. I mean, people can discuss this now, but I've spoken to enough to know that even if she says it's totally fine, I'm all good with it, whatever, he feels he should be the provider. So I think a lot of men naturally have this drive of wanting to be the provider. But then again, coming back to social media, there's a lot of confusion of, what the man should be like and should he split the bill or not, or, all those discussions.
Go Dutch.
Yeah, or German. So, there's a lot of discussion about all of those things. And there might be...
No, we call go Dutch means split. So
Yeah.
when you... Oh, you know that.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, but I thought because it's 50-50.
Yeah, so in 50-50 in England, we call 50-50 is go Dutch. It means split in half.
Okay. Oh, okay.
That must call you Dutch.
No. No, all good. I thought it's like, because Germans will also go like, everybody pays for what they had, like...
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't stand that.
Yeah, no.
That's my pet hate. Do you know what I mean? Me and Jess don't drink no more, but if we go out, if there's 10 of us, we just split it.
Yeah.
Five couples just split it. I would never go, we haven't drunk.
Yeah.
You've had 3 glasses of wine.
Yeah.
Let's split it. I'm not like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you get, even using that example, that's how you guys do it. If you go out with, like let's say a group of Emiratis, one person will probably pay the whole bill.
Yeah.
You cannot even, they'll be fighting on, so every culture, every country is doing it differently. That's why I'm saying, what is right and what's wrong?
There is no
anyways,
right or wrong no more.
But again, men are being sold that you have to be like this and has to be like this, and and masculinity means this and that, and I think it's just really confusing. There is not that one, like, what makes a man?
Yeah.
I mean, besides maybe his genitalia, and even that is not certain anymore, So it's what works for them, what works for you, what works for you guys. Like, everybody needs to decide. But I think that's the difficult part, because the information overload is just omnipresent.
I just think it's changed a lot. Like, going back, thinking about years ago, I never see my dad washing up or going around with a hoover or brushing up or anything. On a Sunday, when the nanny's not working, the house gets turned, we got 3 kids, it gets turned up. At the end of the day, I'll go and do the washing up or sweep up because I can't just sit down.
Yeah.
But going back 20 years ago, my dad would have sat on the sofa while my mum or stepmum would have gone around and cleared up.
Yes.
I just think so much has changed.
Yes.
It ain't a you job. We used to call it a pink job and a blue job. It ain't that no more. It's you got half an hour to clean the house, just jump in, get involved, get it done, and it's finished.
Yeah.
And I think that's the change. I don't know whether it's mindset or just in life it's changed, but it has changed.
I think few reasons why it's changed is because it's a possibility all of a sudden, right? I mean, it was a possibility back then, but nobody was doing it.
Yeah.
So the masses usually go with the masses. So that's, what the man did. But now it's because of all this information, you can decide and pick how you want to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe it was you deciding, maybe it's she asking you, but again, it's whatever works for you two.
Yeah.
You could also say, no, I'm the man, you the woman, you're supposed to.
Have you met Jess?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know my do's and my
Got
don'ts,
it.
right?
Yeah.
Burnout has become almost a badge of honour
Yeah.
in a business. How can ambitious people continue performing at a high level without losing themselves in the process?
Yeah, unfortunately, that has become an honor, almost like a medal. It's like, oh, how many have you had? Oh, I had 2. Oh, I had 3. Don't know where that one came from, but how can people? I mean, it's there's a few answers to this question, but one of them, and it's a really important one, is it's priority management. Like, everybody has time. People think they don't have time, but everybody has time. We all have the same 24 hours. And then there's some people that, choose to spend it doing whatever. And I mean, we all have a choice of how to spend that time. But then it's like, yeah, but I got to work, 20 hours of the day. Is it really? It's like, where do you put your priorities? So that's why I don't believe in time management. Yes, you can do time management things, but I always say go on LinkedIn for 2 hours, you find better skills. But I'll look at priority management and what are priorities based on your beliefs and your values. And so that is one thing to look at for sure. Because why do people go into burnout? Again, like I said earlier on, with why are people so driven is something to look at. And then also, why do they go into burnout? Because it's not necessary. But, it's sense of achievement, performance, again, that I love you when, all of that plays into adults.
My burnout must be where I don't get things off my brain, right? So I can go a week or 2 without getting anything off my brain. And then that one day I've got no more room in my brain because I haven't released it.
Yes.
So that's my problem. If I had released it, but that's obviously, you saying that, that's obviously my burnout, where I've got so much information in my brain's not that, even though my head's big, my brain's not that big. And where I've got so much information in there, I've caused the burnout because I haven't released it. Now, if I would have written down everything in my head, because normally I have to sit down with Jess and go through it and tick it all off. But if I would have written all that down, or wrote it down, and got through it, then I probably wouldn't have had that burnout. But that's my mistake. I haven't addressed that. I haven't dealt with that.
But that's it's not about mistake. It's about maybe somebody doesn't know what to do, and they're just caught so much in the hamster wheel, or in Dubai, or in the expectations, or whatever, And these are the kind of things that then people would come and say, "Can you help me? Because I can tell my brain is like, but I don't know how to do it." You know how to do it, but some people might not know how to do it. But a lot of times it's difficult for people to notice when they're going into a burnout, because it's almost like a silent process. But the body has been speaking before the burnout happens. And I mean, there's the severity of burnout and burnout. I mean, there's burnout and there's burnout. There's burnout so much so that it changes people.
Yeah.
And they're actually out of work for like 6 months and need to kind of, sort themselves out. And then there's just that, chronic exhaustion.
That's my one. I
tired.
don't feel that. I just feel like,
Yeah, people.
Yeah.
That's almost the normal,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But it shouldn't actually be like that. And there's so many different things. Like, I spoke to somebody the other day, and a few times a year he'll just like drop everything and go on holiday and just be like, okay, just leave me all. Obviously he doesn't have a family, but just leave me all alone. And he'll like recharge and then continue. Because he's got a job where there's a lot of people, there's a lot of contact, there's a lot of input, so to know how to, for each person it's different, how to deal with that coming down thing so that it doesn't actually go into a burnout. I personally believe instead of waiting until it's up and then going down, is to kind of keep that baseline.
One thing you just said there is that everyone's different. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with, like, I don't do construction, don't get me wrong. You might do an apartment, you might do a villa, but construction's construction. Someone might want tiles. How do you deal with, obviously, because you go through emotions, you go through burnout. How do you deal with that? Different clients, different things. It must be hard on you.
Not actually.
No?
No, it's not. And somehow I always find my way through, because I guess, the years of experience and the way that I approach everything. So It doesn't matter where it's coming from. Because a lot of times people come with one thing, but it's actually something completely different. And because I work in the depth of things, it doesn't actually matter what the symptom is almost.
Yeah.
That is showing itself, that they come to me with.
Let's lead on to the next question then. If someone listening today feels stuck, disconnected, or know they're successful but not genuinely happy, what's the first step they can take to begin reconnection with themselves?
I think the first step is always awareness. So to be aware that is a fact. I think a lot of people, just using yours as an example, not saying that's why you were drinking, but I think a lot of people drink to not acknowledge.
Oh, 100%. Mine was because of he felt like it cancelled out the stress or the emotions you're going through. I know that. So we're in a bad day at work. I know that. Now, looking back at it, when you're in that hole, you don't know it.
Yeah.
Have a bad day at work. The problem is in England, you drink when it's your birthday, you drink at a funeral, you drink to celebrate your kid's birthday.
Spend a lot of time in the pub.
You drink. Do you know what I mean? And I think you're programmed for that. So whenever you have a bad day, you drink. Yeah. But it's not until you get out of that situation because basically when you stop drinking, I think it's a weird feeling when you get to a certain point. You basically sit back and you look back at your old life and think, I wouldn't change it because it made me the person I am and we had good times, we partied. But you sit back and you look at your old self and you think, I did waste a few years of drinking.
Yeah.
Unnecessary drinking.
Yes. Yeah. So that's, I'm glad that you opened up on that, because it might actually get somebody else to think, oh yeah, it's like so normal to do it. Even here in Dubai, I mean, there's a lot of British people in Dubai, so maybe that's how they brought it with. But is to drown things, to forget about things, for stress relief, all of those things. But to come back to your question, is to be aware of it first, acknowledge it to yourself. I think that one is probably the most important step, because only after that can it change. Only once, it takes the acknowledgement first to then go for a change. You need a bit of courage as well. But the first step is awareness, and then acknowledging it, and then, okay, what now? There's so many different things that people can do, as whether it's being out in nature to ground themselves, or deciding to either not drink or not spend time with certain people that, I don't want to say makes them do certain things, but in certain environments, maybe they'll do certain things that they don't want to do. So remove themselves from that. Start writing down the thoughts, that they're having. There's so many different things. If it's sadness or depression or that kind of thing, then maybe professional assistance might be a good idea. But if it's just noticing, like, life is not moving forward, or it keeps repeating the same patterns, or I'm just generally meh. I always say, like, anything that's not happy, and whatever you're doing that's not your highest excitement, or the things that you actually want to do, is get a mentor or a coach, or go somewhere and get that support. And I love men's circles. So, I don't mean the drinking ones. I mean the ones where kind of they're holding each other accountable. They are exchanging, when it's maybe not okay, and to know that it's okay to not be okay, and maybe what to do about it, and just feel that support by other guys. Because something that's also very prevalent here in Dubai is isolation and loneliness. So people go out in a group, but they can still feel lonely.
Well, I don't really have... we have friends, but I like my company. Me and Jess spend a lot of time together. And I think that it's not that I just feel like that's my happy place. Okay. I like being with Jess. I like being with the kids.
Oh, that's beautiful.
But I feel like, I'm not going to lie, before we started doing this, talking and stuff, I was always like, I don't need this person. I can stop drinking. I stopped drinking. Lost all my weight. I've done this. But since sitting with you, I think I'm going to book in some sessions with you, because I feel like, as I said, this is probably the most naturalist podcast I've ever done. Okay. And I've talked I'm in construction ones, but I feel like we could sit here for hours talking about stuff, and I feel like sometimes it's good for a man to talk about stuff. I want to be the best version of myself, and I feel like I haven't got issues or anything like that, but I feel like it'll be good to talk to someone to try and channel myself into being that better person. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's a weird situation here because I didn't think this podcast was going to go that way, but I think that after this conversation, I think I definitely will book in. Just to find out some bits about myself.
Yeah, sure.
Right, so the last question is, your message is that every man is already enough. What does that actually mean? And what's the one thing you'd like every listener to take away from today's conversation?
I definitely think that everybody is enough, and that men are not broken, and there's nothing wrong with them. I know that the narrative, especially on social media, is, words that are being used as toxic masculinity, and that the men are broken, and even by the men themselves, by the way, not only women saying that. And I don't think you're broken. I think you might have forgotten that essence. That's why, my focus is so much on the remembering first, is to remember who you are already, and that you are more than good enough. And so, if somebody is listening, I just want them to know that there's nothing wrong with you, you're not broken, and if you have forgotten, then there's always ways out of it. Whatever situation that you're in, there's always a way out of it. And I think that one is really, really important, because sometimes it might seem dark. Sometimes it might seem like there is no way out. Sometimes it feels like, so many years wasted, or, so many mistakes made, or, I cannot see how to solve it, or how to get better, or how to get out of it. And there's always a way.
Well, thank you. This has been probably one of my favourite podcasts, I'm not going to lie.
Thank you.
I've been nervous, I've got sweaty palms, I've been under pressure with my questions, but I've enjoyed every minute of it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.